Welcome and/or welcome back to the 𝑒𝐭𝐫𝑒𝑠𝑡𝑠 Bitcoin Trading Show. It's Tim. Today is Thursday, July 8th, and prepare to turn it up to ×2 speed for native English speakers to get more satisfaction of the initiation of Timification. Turn it up. Here we go. So in my last video, the two main points that I made in regards to it looks like there's a lot of pressure down. First off, there's a very important bi-weekly horizontal here, and make myself small before I get an hour into a video and have to redo it. But there is a very important bi-weekly horizontal line that seems to be the area of interest in terms of where the battle zone is. So the bears, the bulls and the bears are making a battle out of this, similar to how at the closure of the June candle, the June monthly candle, the battle line was the monthly 10 EMA, which we've covered on my channel. You might want to go look at the thumbnails that talk about the 10 EMA as of recent, if you haven't watched those videos. But in the most recent video, one of the two main points was this line looks like it could be broken soon. The reason why it could have been broken soon and very aggressively is that at that time, all time frames from the bi-weekly to down to the 3-minute, everything was pretty much in terms of basic indicators was pointing down in some way or another. Some did print bullish divergence, however, with still strong overtones of down. And so they were all aligned in a negative or a very down position. And I'll show you what I mean by that. The RSI has gotten out of the bullish control zone, which is this green area. The slope of the moving average, or the exponential moving average of the RSI, is down, and the slope of RSI itself is down, and it has the habit of going past here and checking this line or this line, which means it looks like it's got more downside to go. Because historically, when you use this and it gets stuck below it gets rejected out of, or it gets pushed down below the green line, it usually touches the white line and or the red line. I don't know if there are any exceptions at all. See, it came out of that green zone, and when it ended up going below the red line here, it got below the green and ended up checking right at the red line itself. So the 2-week itself is pretty down. The 1 month, even bigger time frame. Historically, once it breaks this white line, once the green goes below the white, which the green is the RSI itself, the white is the exponential moving average, I think 12 days worth, but or 12 candles worth, whatever time frame you're on. Every time it gets below here, it ends up touching the white line. So it looks like this, even the monthly, has a long way to go down. Okay, what this is indicating. This could do something different. However, so on the 5-day, the RSI was stuck below the moving average. The moving average is negative. That's down. That was down. The 2 hours down. So on and so forth. So even if you do have bullish divergence with price making a higher low here, or a lower low here, and even a lower low on price here, but the RSI creates higher lows. So higher lows means ascending triangle, and lower lows means it could mean something like this. So you can get higher lows into it too. So it's just slightly, so you form some type of triangle, or a lot of people try to call them channels. And once it breaks out of this channel, not a triangle, that's when it breaks out. So that's a few ways to see this. So even though it does have bullish divergence, and we can double check this on price, which I assume it would be. Let's see if that truly was bullish divergence on the 12-hour. So you had here, you had a lower low here, so that's bullish divergence on the 12-hour, which is a pretty big time frame. So that's actually pretty good news. However, the 12-hour time frame, it's still in the red territory, which that means it's negative. Yeah, and Stokes were pointing down on all these time frames. So I clicked across all the time frames, even down to the 3-minute, and they were all down in some way or another. And price was, it looked like it was getting ready to drop below this line significantly. So since that video, price has used this as the clear battle zone. So if you want to zoom in to the 5-minute chart and look how the 5-minute wicks interact with that exact line I drew from the biweekly chart, it becomes pretty evident that this is the main area of control, or the main point of interest. It's the battle zone. It's the front line, right? Where people are out there slaying each other. And earlier I made a video which was had the thumbnail, the most important video I've ever made, which honestly it really is. It tells you about these battles. So if you haven't checked that out, you might want to go check that out. is a very important video, but right now that same battle line is this line. So most of the major areas of interest, even down to tiny wicks that had only stayed there for 30 seconds, it has to do with this battle. And price is starting to close. It's starting to form a structure under it, and that's not good, because that means once it comes up to here, it's very, 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 very possible that it uses this as resistance instead, and it's going to work its way down and then fall off the cliff. All right, so that was the second main point, is that it was on the edge of the cliff at the time, maybe about here, and everything was pointing down. Sure, it did move up directly after that, absolutely, but right now it's lower than where price was in that video, right? So this could just be a bull trap or hunting stops or whatever before the true move down. But in general, it did continue down, although not on the exact day that I was saying. Everything makes it seem that this could fall off a cliff. It did give a push up first. And so between that video and now, the major thing that's happened is this bi-weekly line. It looks like it might become resistance now. It was clear support. It was clear support, but it just broke that. So that's looking pretty bad. You have some pretty good news where the 12-hour has bullish divergence, the daily has bullish divergence. So it looks like you have reasons to have some confidence that a series of higher lows in price structure, which is what you want to see in a recovery. You want to see a series of higher lows as opposed to just screaming up, because that would be a bull trap. But when you have a series of higher lows like this, 1, 2, 3, that ends up often creating, that U-shape type of correction with a nice flat middle, and that's exactly what happened after the capitulation of 2018. So let's go to 2018, or end of 2018, early 2019. I think price capitulated around November of 2018. So what I'm doing right now is I'm on the daily chart. So all these red and green sticks or candles are daily time frames. And you can see here that at this capitulation, so this is November 2018 right here, it fell off the cliff about on the 14th. So this big drop started on the 14th and it went down in January or around Christmas or something. But you can see here it made a kind of a U type of bottom, and right as it was curling up, that's when you had on the daily time frame, the 10 and the 21 converge on each other, and the 21 or the 10 went on top of the 21. So that just means red crossed above yellow at that time. But it still had to make a rounded off bottom after a big capitulation. So let's see how this could align, and perhaps this idea would trump the fact that the monthly RSI says RSI needs to go quite a bit lower. The 2 week says RSI will have the tendency to go quite a bit lower. But I think there are a lot of things supporting the opposite argument that price has met its low, it's established a low. It's not very compelling yet, but it's kind of building the case. So like I was saying, the daily 10 here, which I will remove the other ones. So we're just looking at the yellow and the red right here. But right at right around the time that this became a positive slope on a U, that's when price finally made a break above above both lines, and it landed upon it and retested it. So it's possible that we're in this little area here, and it did form kind of a local low right before it made its official move up. So there is some argument that in a series of a high, a lower high, a lower high, a lower high, a lower high, there's going to be a point where we have another push down, and that precipitates your big move in the opposite direction. So opposite direction meaning there was a lot of volatility to this way. You had a reduction in volatility, so just the craziness of Bitcoin started coming to a slow, right? Like molecules or something not shaking around in the system, or within a molecule, like the atom's not bounce around too heavily within a molecule. Therefore, the temperature's lower. So the temperature's getting cool on Bitcoin, and that typically is followed by an expansion of temperature. But usually, it pushes price in the opposite direction of where the volatility just came from. So I think there are some pretty strong signs that Bitcoin is doing something similar right now. It's having one last move down before its true change of volatility direction, but it just doesn't look that compelling. I can't, honestly, I don't know if I can put a case for or against one side to a significant degree where I feel I'd have an edge. Like right now, I mean, you're at that point where, of course, your choices for price action are it could go up, it could go down, or it could keep going sideways, right? The whole point of trading is to try to figure out, hey, I have a system that works more than 70% of the time. That system right now is telling me, or a couple of systems together are telling me, I have an edge on, trading the idea that price will go up among the three general options of up, down, or sideways. And so all I'm saying right now is, yeah, it sounds bland to say it could go up, down, or sideways, sure. But the point is, that's always true. That's factual. That's how you should see probabilities. But right now, I just don't see an advantage. Because there is a lot of, there are a lot of things pointing down. I mean, it just looks like it's getting ready to fall off this cliff, folks. This looks pretty bad. However, before an expansion in the actual direction after, Bitcoin's temperature, it cools its tits, it often makes a move in the opposite direction before going in the true direction. So that's what I'm saying here. And you can see if you zoom out, it kind of looks like or just remove price. It kind of looks like these are starting to, make that rounded out. And that's about the time when price makes that move down, and then it's move up, and that's when these the red crosses above the yellow. So that's what I'm seeing right here. And you have to support that bullish divergence on the daily and the 12-hour, which counts for a lot. Bullish divergence means there is a difference in direction in terms of lows. So there's a difference in the lows of RSI versus the lows of Bitcoin. So if the lows of the RSI are going up, you have divergence if on price the lows are getting lower as the lows are actually getting higher in RSI. Okay, so that's what divergence just means, the opposite direction on two different indicators, right? So let's take a look here. And these are typically based off candle closures. So you had a candle closure here marking the lowest low on RSI by a mile. You had a higher RSI with candle closures significantly lower. You had candle closures even more significantly lower. That's 3 strikes. The lows are getting lower on price, and the highs are getting higher on RSI. And bullish divergence on the RSI is exactly, I think you got 2 to 3 strikes on that after the capitulation of 2013. And I think Bitcoin decided to make its move right around the point that the moving average, so the white line you're seeing here, and I can take that off, as the moving average was trying to cross this red line. I think it happened pretty close, and you can see how close we are. If we just get a couple more positive bounces, it's going to cross up. So now let's go back to, I guess, to early 2019, and see how that worked out. To give more evidence that it's possible this is just a phantom move in the direction opposite of where volatility truly will take Bitcoin. So right about when the RSI, so I said when the white line gets above, how did I edit this? Okay, so let's see when the white line crossed. So right here, you got a rejection, and then you got the cross right here. So that would be the 18th of February. So let's go look at the 18th of February. So these are simple tools, right? Very simple tools. So look, here's the 18th. Wonder what this marked. So that one might have been on the 4-hour. Maybe this right here marked the 4-hour crossing up, or the 8-hour. Let's see. Gotta remember what day that's on, though. The hell's going on here? Here we go. I want Bitcoin to go up. I really do. I just want to find all the reasons why it might without fooling myself though, right? So when you realize you want price to do something, you have to make sure your analysis is not being, skewed in that direction. You can't be like, you have to always be asking yourself. That's kind of what I'm doing right now. I am trying to build a case because I want it to go up, but really what I want doesn't matter. So I need to make sure I look for all the reasons against what I want as well, and to truly balance the evidence for and against, right? But so this, what my guess is it marks the 4-hour crossing above there. I wonder where price was. Oh, here it is. I'm gonna have to go back a couple years. This might take a second. Sorry. Oh no, it's faster than I thought. All right. Right there. All right, beautiful. So we're circled first. I bet it marked the cross of just a lower time frame. And very similar to what Bitcoin did on the daily. Look, it got a rejection down and it crossed. And this cross happened as the daily was going up and got rejected, and this marks it making a lower. So when the 4-hour did this, I believe, is when the daily also crossed. So you got the signal on the 4-hour before the daily. This could have been a fake out. It could have just come up and come down. But before the daily happens, this is what happens on the 4-hour. So let's see where Bitcoin price is now related to the 4-hour and its EMA, crossing that line. Like, sometimes things can seriously be that simple. As long as it works over 50% of the time. Have I backtested 100% of the times? No, I haven't. But I know it typically triggers some buyers, or whatever buyers are seeing is indicated by that line going up on different time frames. And usually I'm comfortable entering a trade when the 2-hour does, or the 1-hour, but then I either add or get more confident to my signals or my trades as a higher time frame comes up. Does that make sense? So of course, if this crosses here on the 4-hour, that means it already had crossed on the 1-hour, down here or something. It looks like the 4 hours get rejected. That's bad. Yeah, well, I was hoping to be looking for something like this. Like, maybe it's starting to come up and try it again, but this looks pretty bad. Looks like it's going to fail. However, this is a point of interest, though. Price and RSI you tend to use this as both resistance and support. So what's happening right now might be that one last check before it really makes a third higher low. But it's very indecisive. So that's not happening there, which means the daily is getting its first rejection off here. Which these right here are the dead cat bounces of 2018. So if you want to look at that, this represented the dead cat bounces of 2018 before capitulation on November 14th. So you have a level of between 30, let's say 38 is what it kept going down to, and this just came to 37. But these dead cat bounces had the daily come up a lot higher, which means it kind of seems like we've got a while to go, which would be evidence that the immediate trajectory in terms of volatility will be up. So the entire point of this video is that right now, I think the edge is down. However, I don't think I can come up with enough statistical reasoning to significantly overpower the other direction, up, down, or sideways, right? So I wanted to show you how I flip through time frames, I flip through indicators, and I realized to myself, crap, maybe I want to trade. But nothing is telling me, giving me all the evidence that one single thing is going to happen. And because of that, I am not going to be entering a trade, or if I do, I won't be doing it very confidently, and I'll be looking to get out of that trade quickly inside of profit, or take my losses very quickly if I did decide to trade outside of a system. But it's better if your system does not give you a reason to say, click buy with something, right? If you don't have a system that says do it, or click short or sell with leverage on something, if a system doesn't clearly tell you to do that, stop freaking trading. And so in this whole video, I wanted to show you how I would battle around and try to say to myself, ugh, I want it to go up. Like, what if I just long here? I'm going to catch a nice ride up at least to 48,000. I want that to be true. But sitting here fishing around, my signalers say, yeah, it might happen, but it's not even likely. And sometimes, the unlikely happens where it comes down first and goes up. It's kind of what I'm looking for, but it makes me realize what I want to happen is more unlikely than the inverse scenario. So hopefully if you get to that type of point in your trading where you have specific systems, I want you to realize that the biggest obstacle in trading is yourself. And if you break your own rules, there is no hope for your account long term. You might get lucky a few times, but that getting lucky will actually make you lose your money faster, because then you're going to be more confident as you take trades outside of your systems, whatever system they have built. And if you don't have a system yet, if you're just clicking, oh, it looks like it's going to go up. Oh yeah, I usually check this and that. No. You need something very specific, right? So, and this is also to say, if you don't have a system during this choppy market, sure, a lot of liquidations might not happen during a sideways choppy market without much stuff. Being on the wrong trade over and 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 over is going to rack up fees, and it's going to cut into your account hugely, or it's going to bore you to death. I'm just taking 3% losses and 1% gains and all that stuff. So if you're over trading, you're going to get wiped out of the market. If you're trying to swing trade, like I was attempting to do, waiting for a relief rally, you're going to be sitting here doing freaking nothing because there isn't enough volatility to swing trade, right? So make sure that during this choppy market, as it continues coming, even though it looks like it might end here soon, but don't overtrade. And make sure you have a system. Struggle like I struggled in this video. Even though this wasn't a true struggle, I had already been looking at charts earlier today, but it simply started with higher time frames, worked my way down, flipped through the time frames, and I wanted to see how I want you to watch me how I, in a raw scenario, almost raw. I like it raw. But in a raw scenario, how I not only have an opinion and I have an idea and I have a want, because I'm a human and I like Bitcoin. I want Bitcoin to go up. I recognize that I have a bias, and when I piece things together, I need to fairly analyze weight. The evidence to the downside is way too strong for me to justify trying to catch a move to the upside. And so you need to find yourself stopping yourself as well, similar to how I forced myself to do that here, even though I really want price to go up. So anyway, be safe out there. Don't overtrade. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and hit subscribe. And if you're new and you subscribe, I need to know if you want to be a cryptillion or a crypto crackhead. And as I get over whatever cold, I'm having to take antihistamines right now, but I might be having better jokes right now. But but Benadryl or whatever is similar to Benadryl, it's kind of making me a little sleepy as of recently. But other than that, we'll see you next time, and I'll probably be doing 2 to 3 videos on YouTube a week. See you later.